the NFL's youngest team in 1986, the Houston Oilers encountered the difficulties that stem from inexperience. But they established themselves as an emerging team with bright hopes for the future. They saw 1986 as an open book, and the Oilers filled the empty pages with a desire and commitment to excel. They created an exciting environment for the next chapter in their history. While an aggressive defense was one of the league's toughest against the pass, the offense featured a record-setting passing attack. Together, these accomplishments made 1986 both memorable and rewarding. Throughout 1986, the Oilers demonstrated both character and talent. They finished a rugged campaign as a determined team on the brink of maturity. And by coming of age, they are on the verge of a promising new era. High hopes surrounded the Oilers at the start of the '86 season. The team had swept through their preseason games undefeated and traveled to Green Bay with confidence and optimism for the season opener. The Oilers jumped into the lead as quarterback Warren Moon ran for one touchdown and connected with Butch Woolfolk for another. But it was the young defense, playing like seasoned veterans, that launched an offensive against the Packers. The defense held the Packers to a meager 77 rushing yards and thoroughly spoiled Green Bay's debut. Moon teamed with Drew Hill for the game's final score to ice a masterful 31-3 triumph. The Oilers, undefeated and undaunted, looked ready to make 1986 unforgettable. But while they started the season on a positive note, they were soon singing a different tune. Penalties and turnovers plagued the team through 8 straight setbacks. Victory was always just beyond reach, and injuries to key players like Mike Munchak, Jim Romano, Bo Eason, and Frank Bush took a terrible toll. As the weeks went by and heartbreaking losses mounted, despair threatened to bury the team. There were times when it seemed that the Oilers didn't have a prayer. But head coach Jerry Glanville never lost faith in his team because the Oilers refused to fold. Glanville knew that hard work was a well-spent investment, And at home against Central Division rival Cincinnati, the team finally reaped the dividends of Glanville's philosophy. Warren Moon found tight end Jamie Williams to give Houston the early lead. And Drew Hill's 10 receptions for 185 yards continued the aerial assault. When Ray Wallace, number 35, scored his second touchdown of the day, the Oilers held a commanding lead late in the third quarter. But suddenly the Bengals unleashed their own flurry of punches and fought back to within a point. Would it be another case of the same old Oilers, or would a growing maturity make the difference? The Houston defense refused to be knocked out, and Tony Zendejas gave the team some breathing room. Still, the Bengals had one last gasp.
The Oilers trying to end 8 weeks of agonizing frustration. Esiason back to pass. Down to 8 seconds remaining. Then the ball is intercepted. It is intercepted by Alan Laide. And listen to the crowd in the Astrodome as the Oilers are going to win their second game of the year.
With an emotional win over Cincinnati, the Oilers had finally turned the corner and left the past behind them. Glanville's faith was rewarded, and it was the rapidly maturing defense, which had been playing tough all year, that hung on to claim the victory. The defense of 1986's youngest team in the league possessed a hungry, hard-hitting spirit. With an insatiable appetite for opposing players, the defense made great strides in '86. On the front line, Richard Byrd, number 71, Mike Golick, Doug Smith, and William Fuller feasted on a steady diet of ball carriers. But Ray Childress, number 79, one of 2 1985 #1 draft picks, anchored that front line. Childress ranked second on the team in total tackles and led the Oilers in quarterback sacks. The line is the heart of the defense, but the soul is embodied in the linebackers. John Grimsley exploded on the scene in 1986 and led the Oilers in tackles. He lit the fuse for Robert Abraham, number 56, Johnny Meads, Avon Riley, and Robert Lyles, number 93. The defense drastically improved their league ranking over 1985 to finish 13th, as defensive backs like Jeff Donaldson and Keith Bostic also made their contributions felt. The most significant improvement was evident in the Oilers' pass defense. The secondary laid down the law to opposing offenses by developing a flair for stealing the football. The pass defense ranks second in the AFC, frustrating quarterbacks into completing less than half of their passes. Like pickpockets in a crowd, Richard Johnson, Steve Brown, and Bo Eason struck quickly to pull in their loot, while Alan Laide and Patrick Allen, number 29, shared the team lead in interceptions. In their quest for the ball, these theft-minded defenders punished opponents. And Donaldson, number 31, wasn't the only one to score on a fumble recovery.
The handoff to Kinnebrew, who fumbles, and the ball is recovered by the Oilers. Coming up with it is Lyles, and he may go.
Robert Lyles did go all the way. 93 yards for the longest fumble return in the league since 1983. Lyles symbolized the efforts of a maturing defense, and that maturity was also evident on special teams, where Lee Johnson performed double duty as punter and kickoff man. Johnson led the league in kickoff touchbacks and averaged over 41 yards per punt. Rookie Alan Pinkett, number 20, raced to the team's longest return of the year. Whether blocking a punt or blasting a return man, Lynn Madsen, Kirk Dodge, Chris Dressel, and Audrey McMillan comprised an aggressive coverage team. The Oilers turned youthful exuberance into an advantage, but they could display serious concentration as well. Place kicker Tony Zendejas set a new club record with 22 field goals and ranked third in the league in field goal accuracy. Zendejas helped keep the Oilers on the brink of victory in a lot of close contests. And with growing confidence, the Oilers embarked on the second half of the season after their big win over the Bengals. The team achieved a 4-3 record in the final 7 games, including impressive wins over both Indianapolis and Buffalo. In these 2 contests, Moon was the ringmaster for a high-flying aerial circus, throwing for over 500 yards to rookie Ernest Givens and Drew Hill. The ever-improving defense held each team under 70 rushing yards and went on a sacking spree that ravaged opposing quarterbacks. The Oilers compiled plenty of yards and points in these 2 triumphs. It seemed like this electrifying offense could light up the scoreboard almost at will.
Moon on second down, back to pass. Sets up a screen, got it to Wallace. Launches out in front at the 30, at the 25, 20, at the 15, at the 10, at the 5. Touchdown! Roy Wallace with a screen. The pitch comes to Rozier, coming right, follows the blocks of Ray Wallace. Stays on his feet, gets inside the 10 to the 5. What a touchdown run by Mike Rozier!
These 2 victories exemplified the Oilers' turnaround in the second half of the season. With a total team effort on both sides of the ball, it became something to cheer about. In 1986, the Oilers walked the difficult path from youthful enthusiasm to maturing confidence. It was an improving offense that stood tall at every challenge. Although injuries plagued the front line, new Oilers stars gave it talent and tenacity. Newly acquired All-Pro Kent Hill, Jay Pennison, and Don Maggs helped solidify the offensive line as they joined veteran All-Pro Mike Munchak, Bruce Matthews, Jim Romano, and Dean Steinkuhler. And Munchak, number 63, always managed to be at the right place at the right time. Also due to injury, 6 different players started at running back during 1986. Chuck Banks, number 36, proved to be a valuable receiver out of the backfield, as did Butch Woolfolk, number 40. Rookie Alan Pinkett started the final 3 games and finished the season as the team's second leading rusher. Despite missing half the season due to injury, rookie fullback Ray Wallace, number 35, was a pleasant surprise, starting 4 games and contributing both on the ground and through the air. Backup quarterback Oliver Luck, number 10, connected with Wallace for one of the rookie's 5 touchdowns, which tied him for the team lead. And although Mike Rozier, number 33, sat out the final 3 games with a knee injury, he led the Oilers in rushing. Rozier was both tough and elusive, and with his quick feet, he ran over and around defenders. While Houston's resilient running game helped turn the club around, it was the passing game that turned heads around all over the league. Quarterback Warren Moon was blessed with an abundance of targets, including tight end Jamie Williams, number 87, Tim Smith, Micah Q, and wide receiver Willie Drury, number 82. The nimble Moon was able to escape many sticky situations. His scrambling ability helped him avoid trouble and pass for nearly 3,500 yards to break his own club record.
Moon takes the snap, back to pass, rolling right. He's in trouble, in a lot of trouble, and he throws it for Givens. Open at the 6, touchdown!
Moon was the delivery man in a passing game that boasted another profitable department. The stars of the Oiler receiving corps were a history-making duo formed by Drew Hill and Ernest Givens. Givens, a rookie, created excitement every time he touched the ball.
Who gives it to Givens, who's going to run a reverse to the 40, the 35, the 30. 10, 5, touchdown! Ernest Givens!
But it was as a receiving tandem that Hill, number 85, and Givens entered the history books, as they became only the 19th pair of players on one team to achieve the 1,000-yard mark in receiving in the same season. Like Lennon and McCartney, this twosome made beautiful music together, creating memorable performances throughout the year. Givens, only the 9th rookie in NFL history to amass over 1,000 receiving yards, was named to several all-rookie teams. Hill led the team with 65 receptions, lifted his career total to 10 100-yard games, and tied fullback Wallace for the team lead with 5 touchdowns.
Rushes on, Moon going to throw it deep, far side of the field. Drew Hill caught it!
This explosive passing game kept the Oiler faithful firmly behind their team. But looming ahead of the rapidly improving Oilers was perhaps their toughest challenge of the season. In the next to last game of the year, Houston hosted the playoff-hungry Minnesota Vikings. The Oilers had upset on their minds. Still, Houston spotted the visitors a 7-3 lead, and the Vikings appeared on their way to a victory. But But suddenly, a Minnesota mistake gave Houston a chance. And when opportunity knocked, the Oilers answered. Moon quickly found his favorite rookie target, and Givens' touchdown lifted the Oilers to a 10-7 lead. And this time, the defense took complete control of the contest. They forced quarterback Tommy Kramer out of the game and harassed his replacement Wade Wilson by picking off 3 interceptions. The Vikings' rushing game fared no better as the Oilers went on a hitting rampage. With the defense befuddling the opposition, the Oilers' offense used every trick in the book. Givens was deadly through the air as well as on the ground, as he and partner Hill combined for 200 receiving yards. Alan Pinkett had his best rushing day of the year. His plunge for a score sealed a hard-fought and hard-earned 23-10 victory, one of 4 consecutive home wins to end the season. Oilers owner K.S. Bud Adams Jr. turned to Executive Vice President and General Manager Ladd Herzig to lead the Oilers' rebuilding project in the last few years. With that talent now in place, the reins of the team are firmly in head coach Jerry Glanville's hands. The Oilers started '86 as the league's youngest